Got drinks, got smoke, got weed, got all the girls, got everything we need. And I see them all, but who brought the fat girl? Drink another, smoke another, get retarded. I know this where the party is, so get this bitch started. And if you want some liquor, girl, you can go and lick a girl. Get it poppin' till like 6 in the morning. Come break it down.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Brothers Podcast. We got one special guest today, Enrique Esparza, a.k.a. Kike, a.k.a. Brooklyn.
How's it going?
Thanks for coming.
Yeah,
Not too bad.
thanks for, unfortunately, it took us like 2 hours to get this shit together. We're having some technical issues. Of course, you can see we don't got the best quality camera on them, but it is what it is. We'll deal with it.
It's all right. We'll get it done.
Part of production.
Yeah, unfortunately, Daniel went on vacation. He
always
works.
on
He works.
vacation.
He works 1 week and he takes 2 weeks vacation. That's how things go around here.
Man, I like to get on that plan.
Yeah, I need
I
to
know,
get on
right?
that plan.
For real. It's the Kmart pay as you can plan.
Can't find. I'm telling you, man, this guy. So we had some difficulties, but we're here now, ready to do this thing. So let's get started. Kike,
What's going on, man?
how you been? How's everything?
Been good. Just busy, working a lot. Trying to deal with the heat. It's horrible out here.
Yeah,
Yes, it is,
bet.
definitely.
It's fucking disgusting.
Yeah,
What you call
humidity
it?
was 95% today.
Damn, 95 really?
Yeah, man.
Oh my lord.
Ugh.
95, man. I was telling Ivan, man, I got to bring extra chonies to work, dude. Just change them out.
Are they holy chonies or like actually good chonies?
They're good ones. They're
The
good
ones
ones
hanging
too.
out for dear life and shit. You know what I mean? Like they got like 10, 20 holes in them and shit.
Nah, I saved those for sleeping, dude.
For sleeping? All right. You walk around the house.
Everybody's gonna want to know, how did you get the name Brooklyn? Let's start
Brooklyn.
there. The name
Damn.
Brooklyn. How did that happen?
Man, what year was that, dude? I don't know. We went to Vegas.
That was
a good
in.
one.
I came back from my
That's when you
first
came back.
deployment. That was in 08. That was my first deployment.
Damn, 2008.
Oh yeah, that was that time that you came back and then we celebrated that weekend, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Or was
remember?
it-
And then,
yeah.
So that weekend, I didn't have my apartment yet, so I had to wait till Monday, and we got a room at the Treasure Island, right?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
And then boy, well, you guys remember? You guys helped me and moved in.
yeah. We stayed there for the whole
Yeah.
week.
Yeah.
That
But
was, a
was,
good,
that, was that the time you got the nickname though, or was that another time?
Yeah, that was the time I got the nickname.
Oh, okay. Because the homie. Oh yeah, the homies.
Oscar.
Oscar
Oscar gave me the
went
name.
up there. But anyway, go ahead, tell the story about that.
Oh, that one. I think we left the club. Which one?
No, I
was
think
it?
we went to the bathroom.
Yeah, we were leaving the club. We were leaving
Oh.
Ed Hardy. We were leaving Ed Hardy.
Remember that
Christian
Christian
Audige.
Audige?
Yeah,
Remember the
That
bottles
shit
were
was-
$75.
Yeah.
Remember
Yeah,
Sky
yeah.
vodka and shit? Right?
Yeah.
Oh,
We were
terrible.
living our best
Horrible.
lives right there.
Yeah,
Actually, that night we got like 11. Well, no, about 11 bottles. Like 9. No, we got a lot of bottles.
we got a lot of bottles.
Yeah,
that
it
night.
was
Yeah.
like 11, I remember, but we
It
had
was,
like
right?
20
Yeah.
of us. Yeah, there were like 20 of us deep that night.
Yeah, it was a bunch of us. But when we left, we went into the bathroom right before we hit up to the room, and I think there was a couple guys that were from New York, and I don't know what I don't know what it was, but we were using the restroom, and the dudes next to us were talking about something. I don't know what the hell they were saying, and they said something, and so I was like, man. And I remember looking at one of the guys, like, man, shut up, man. They
Were
don't
they
got
talking
no-
shit though? Or?
Yeah, they were talking
Okay.
kind of shit. Something,
No,
and then
I think what I remember, they were yelling Brooklyn. They were yelling it like in the restaurant.
Oh.
yeah, but that was afterwards. Yeah,
Oh,
that
was
was
it?
after.
After.
Because it was me, Oscar next to me, and then you were in there, Beto, and then the dude started saying something, and I was like, man, shut up, man. You ain't got no damn swimming pools over in New York. And the dude started saying something. He's like, oh man, I'm from over here. I was like, man, shut up. I don't know what we did, but I started yelling shit at them, and they were yelling back, and then they started yelling Brooklyn. So I was like, man, this guy and Oscar. I remember Oscar was all like, hey, dog. If you go over there and snatch his chain, dude, I don't know what he told me, but he's like, go over there and snatch his chain, man, snatch his chain. I was like, man, I'll go over there and do it.
Straight up New York style. huh?
Yeah, that's how I was like, all right, cool. I went over there, and I don't know what happened, but we were already ready to squabble, and they kept yelling Brooklyn. And ever since then, Oscar was like, oh, we're going to call Kiki Brooklyn, dude, Brooklyn. The name stuck.
Yeah, I remember you said that. You were like, fuck Brooklyn.
Yeah, fuck
Like,
Brooklyn.
what?
I was like,
What?
man, fuck Brooklyn.
They
Yeah.
got all
Who said
offended
that?
and shit, huh?
Who
Yeah.
said that?
Me,
That shit was
fool.
funny.
I was like, me.
Well, where do you feel you get these fucking balls? Because you're not a big guy, but you've always been the one to fucking throw down, back people up. Like you've always had that in you.
And you know what? I think that has to be from how I grew up when I was a kid. So I don't know. And, I grew up in Chicago. So yeah, I was born in Chicago. Grew up
Southside or
South Side, man. I grew up in I grew up in a small place called Little Village. Not a small place, but it's a place called Little Village out there. A lot of gangs, and that's how I grew up. And like it was like fucking nothing but gangs. Um, I grew up seeing a lot of violence and a lot of crapping out there. It's not like like you just don't live there. You fucking survive there. You know?
Yeah, survival. Survival. Okay.
Yeah, and
Hey,
so
you see it on the first 48.
yeah, and so ever since I was a kid, my dad would tell me like, nah, don't ever let nobody fucking do this or do that. You gotta fucking stand up for yourself, or else people are always gonna start coming at you. So even since I was a kid, I was just always fighting people, man, left and right, right and left. Like I remember this one kid I grew up at for I don't know, I'd have to say about like 3 grades, dude. 3rd, 4th, maybe no, it was like 2nd, 3rd, and so like me and this dude would always start fighting for no reason. We just see him passing by.
Just,
Like,
Two fucking dogs.
Yeah, you do. Just start throwing down. Start throwing down. And I remember I stabbed him with the pencil one time.
Jesus.
Yeah, that's the way it was out there, man. You just did shit like that, and that's where I kind of got it from. Like, that's the way I grew up, and everything from then. When I moved here, I was shocked because I was like, man, dude, shit's different out here. I remember people would just throw down and like shake hands and get up and start talking and shit. I'd be like, what the fuck? Like, oh man, dude, like
you were on the corner with your pencil in your hand and shit. Like,
Yeah,
what's going on here?
So over there it was like it was till it ended.
Yeah,
over
yeah.
Here,
Yeah, like people held grudges and I mean, people drop like flies, man. You get in a fight with somebody, like 2 weeks later, you hear that person ended up getting blasted by the dude he was fighting. It's like, damn, man, that's crazy. Yeah. Even I mean, when we moved here, I think I moved out here when I was 12. So like 13, 14, a couple of kids that I grew up with, I ended up hearing that they got shot or they got killed some way. And I'm like, yeah, like I was like, damn, dude, that's crazy, man. And that's the way I grew up, and that's how I've always been. I've always been like, man, you know what? I don't back down from anybody or anything, but like I've always been like, nah, you know what? Like I guess it's just the way I grew up, the way my dad instilled it to me. Like, you know what?
Yeah.
Like, it don't matter how big they are, who it is, whatever. Just make sure you go. And I mean, Albert, you know how I've always been. I've always been like that dude. Is like, I don't care if I fight you, and if I lose, I'm gonna come back. And that's always been me.
Yeah, I'm gonna come back, and that's crazy too. Because as the same way that you're feisty, you're ready to throw down whenever it counts. You have a big heart. That's what I like about you, man. You have a big heart. You know, you're always willing to give, and that shows that you can have two sides, right? You don't have to be the fucking asshole trying to beat everybody up, but you could defend yourself, and that's cool, man. That's what I like about you.
Nicky Santoro over here. Right? Remember that scene from Casino? The pinch?
I always remember that time in Vegas when my brother was fucking floating in the water like he was the king at the Treasure Island.
Hey, I was having a great old time. Remember I had my glasses? I thought it was cool. My glasses are all crooked and shit. They were brand new Ray-Bans. I actually had to go.
You bought them there.
When I bought them, I bought them and I fucked them up, and then I went back to the store because I fucked them up, and I paid like half price for them. And they gave me some new ones.
Yeah,
I fucked up those too and shit.
Yeah. So you were in the just swimming faded, bro. You didn't even know where you were at. You were just floating in the water with your sunglasses sideways, and then somebody hit like the ball. They had one of those fucking floaty balls. What is it?
The kids were there were some kids playing with the beach ball in the pool. You know, they were bouncing around. Everybody, you know, was having a good time. There was a DJ and stuff. And then, you know, my dumb ass just decided to get the ball, and I bit a hole in it. Remember?
Yeah,
I bit a hole in it. And everybody's like, what the fuck? What are you doing? And then here come I guess it was the parents or the uncles. I don't even know who they were. And this two big Samoans. Was it two?
I remember that.
It was two.
Yeah. And it's two. And they were telling me to get out of the pool. I was like, I'm not getting out of the pool. What you talking about? I'm staying right here. I'm in safety over here.
I remember I was talking to some peoples and I was like, man, and this one dude goes, and I was like, man, I turned around. Hey, you with him? I was like, yeah, what's going on?
That was one of the guys?
Yeah, it was one of the guys. I was like, yeah, what's going on? And he was like, hey, he just popped the ball and I don't know what. I was like, I turned around. I was like, "Hey, what happened?" He's like, fuck them." I was like, what we do? Fuck them, man. I was like, "Oh shit, all right." And I was like, "Hey, but what happened?" He's like, "Oh, he just grabbed the ball and bit it." I was like, oh damn, man. And the glasses all like this. I was like, man.
And then remember, I offered to buy him a new one,
Oh,
but,
yeah.
he was like, nah. He was like,
Yeah.
no. I guess he really wanted to beat my ass.
Yeah.
And then that's when you were like,
I was trying to talk some sense to him. I was like, hey man, you know what? I'll pay for the ball. Like, don't worry about it. And the dude's like, nah, you can get up and pay for it right now. And I was like, oh yeah, man, now hold on, make that. And I guess I don't know where they were from, but you know how it is here in the valley. Everybody says fool, you know, like, oh, nah, chill out, fool, you know, like always. And the dude started getting mad. I ain't no fool. And I was like, nah, I'm not calling you a fool, man. It's just the way I am. It's from California,
you
bro.
mean like that?
Yeah, like, you know, it's fool, like FOO, you know.
It's like saying way.
And the other dude got out of the pool because we were both outside the pool. The other dude got out of the pool, and I was like, God damn, that guy's big, man. He's a big dude. And I mean, at the time, man, I think I must have been like, what, like 130, 140 maybe? About 30.
Soaking wet.
Outside of the pool, yeah. Soaking wet. Yeah. And I was like, man. And I remember them dudes they didn't want to hear anything, man. They just wanted something to pop off. But it was funny because Ivan was still in the pool. And he was like, fuck him, Kike, fuck them fools. And I was like, oh, chill out, dude, chill out. Yeah, and I was like, damn. And I remember thinking like, man, why did Beto, everybody had to leave and go nap right now at this time, man? I was like, ah.
Oh, everybody else was gone?
Everybody was gone. It was just me and you.
Oh,
wow.
I actually walked down there like in the perfect time because I went by myself down there to check on you actually because I was like, I'm going to check on this food. And as I'm walking out, I saw Kike standing in front of two big ass Samoans, and I'm like, "Oh, what the fuck's going on here?" And I told Kike, "What's going on?" He's like, your fucking brother bit the ball, man. I'm trying to talk to these fools," and they were like still going at it with Kike. And I was like, "Oh, all right, let me text Oscar real quick, and they'll come down." So I shoot a text, you know, and then you see like Oscar come to the door, and I forgot who else was with him. And then those two fools saw that, and they're like, "Oh, just forget it, man. Forget the ball." They're like, what happened, you know?
Yeah, that's why I was like, come on, you guys wanted some, come on, man.
Fucking with them essays. Huh?
Yeah, I was like, come on, you guys kept going. Come on, you guys see some little skinny dude, come on, man. We rolling deep.
Ivan always agitizing the situations to make it worse, huh? We're trying to calm it down.
Yeah. You definitely made it worse, man. But it was a good time. It was a good time.
It was
a good time.
It was a good time.
Super good, man. And then I remember just being like, man, in my mind, I remember it was running through my head like, you know what, this big dude, I'm gonna push him in the pool. And I'm gonna try to work this dude right here that's standing next to me. I was like, I don't know how it's gonna go down, but hopefully it goes my way. And I was like, I'm faster than him, so I was like, maybe I'll hit him a couple times, and then just go ahead. I was thinking like maybe security might stop it by the time that happens.
You hit him once, and like at school, you hit him once.
Hey, a fight only happens for like 5-10 seconds, and then it just stops. It's like, man, I remember it was running through my mind. I was like, man, I'm gonna push this big dude in the pool, and I'm gonna work this guy right here in the side of me. And I was like, man, good thing it didn't happen though, because
it's funny how you play scenarios in your head and shit. Like,
you have to, man. Sometimes you got to. I was like,
that's how you stay ready.
It's actually a good thing, you know.
I always do, man. That's why I'm always like, man, you know what? I'm gonna see what's best for me. So I was like, man, that day I was like, I know this big dude, I could probably fucking be faster than this guy. If I could hit him a couple times and hopefully security stops it, I'll be on top. Mm-hmm. Me and Ivan get out of there, we're good.
That's like good. One thing I do, like when I go out to restaurants and shit, I always sit like facing the door, just because, you know, you see all them videos of dudes coming in trying to rob the place or shoot someone up.
Oh yeah.
I'm just always looking at that door. I'm always looking around, and girls are the opposite, bro. They're just walking around like the world is a fucking safe place, huh?
They're mad because their drink ain't coming in fast enough. They're looking at appetizer and shit.
And that shit's scary. Like when Dom goes out by herself or with her friends, I'm like, what are they doing? You know, are they looking around the surroundings? You know, are they looking to see who's coming up behind them? You know,
I'm always aware of everything, like everything that happens everywhere I go. Even when I get out, like when I'm parking somewhere, I'm always looking around like, all right, cool. I'll check people to be like, man, you know what? I even look at some people's waistbands and shit. Check like, this motherfucker got something. Always, dude. I'm aware like all the time.
You have to be. You have to. Yeah. Especially right now, times are a little crazy. You see all those couple abductions? I saw an attempted abduction in Texas. Luckily, the girl, she ran away and she knocked on the house, but yeah, they're getting raised in there. Man.
Yeah, man, you gotta be vigilant out there, man, because
that's fucking crazy. Especially you with kids, you know, like damn, you gotta be prepared at all times.
Oh yeah, man. Especially when I'm with my girls, I'm like, man, dude, I don't know, dude. That's just, you never know, man. You never know when something like that ever happens, and it's just like, fuck.
That's what you gotta know. You gotta teach the females
Yeah.
too to be aware of your surroundings.
Oh yeah. And
See-
Alex used to be like, man, just mosing around, dude. And I'm like, man, you don't pay attention, do you? You don't pay. There's be shit that
Nothing.
happens at the stores or somewhere, like, and I'll be like, oh yeah, and she'll be like, I didn't even see that. I'm like, how did you not see that? That shit just happened right in front of our face. There was one time that we were at Walmart and we were paying, and I started telling her, hey, right now when we leave, like, make sure you get, Olivia and put her on your other side, because there was a dude who fell and he was having a seizure. And so I was like, oh, I don't want my daughter to see that, Everybody was like, oh man, and she was like, what? And I didn't tell her like, oh hey, because I didn't want to point it out because we were walking, and I was like, oh, just grab her over here and move her. And then she was like, damn, I didn't even see that dude having a seizure. I was like, the dude was right there on the floor next to us.
He's just laying on the floor.
Yeah.
She probably stepped over him.
Yeah.
That's probably the maintenance guy.
Yeah.
Like a month ago at work. That's funny that you said that, because a month ago at work, some dude had a seizure. Same thing. Some dude had a seizure on the floor, and the employees are blocking it off. And there's a family that comes in, and we're like 2 little boys, and they just walk up to the dude, and they're like, "Hey, are you okay? What happened to you?" And they're like trying to touch him, and the parents are just like continuing, like just pushing their cart. And I'm like, "Hey, like get back, like
While he's having a seizure.
Yeah. The little
Damn.
kids just went up to him and started, "What's wrong with him?" They started trying to touch him. I'm like, "Hey, get back, like where are your parents at?" Like,
Yeah.
there's,
I was
like,
stealing his
where's the
money and shit.
control?
Damn.
Where's the control here? Like,
Yeah. The parents
watch your
didn't care.
kids, You wonder why they get abducted and shit. Fucking just
Be
let them
aware
run
of your
loose.
surroundings, folks.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Gotta
it's
always be
crazy
aware,
out there.
man. There's always crazy shit going on out there.
For real.
Especially at Walmart, man.
At Walmart?
Oh yeah.
Why does everything always happen at
I don't
Walmart?
know, man.
Wow,
Walmart's
it's always Walmart.
Remember they used to
magnet for shit like that.
post there was on Facebook they used to post Walmart
yeah,
the memes.
yeah,
I haven't seen it no more. I guess
yeah.
people are tired of
They would just-
it's normal now.
They would post people wearing crazy shit and stuff. Yeah.
Kike, now that you have kids, do you feel like that like calmed you down from that
The way I
strength
used to
side,
be.
that fighting side, that
Oh yeah, definitely, man.
Reaction side.
Kids. I always tell everybody, because I even had a friend that I hung out with, like, prior to hanging out with you, man. I used to hang out with a bunch of fucking people who fucking banging shit over in the east side and
Some
north
rough
side.
folks.
Some rough folks, man. And I used to hang out with a bunch of fools back in the days, and I remember last year ran into one of them dudes, and the dude was like, "Dude, what the fuck happened to you?" I was like, "None, dog, just."
I grew
Chilling.
up.
Yeah, I just grew up. And he was like, nah, no, we thought you fucking went to prison or you died or something. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, this fool. And he was telling Alex, this dude used to hang out with us all the time, and he up and disappeared. And I was like, I just got tired of hanging out with y'all fools, man. Like,
Smarten up. You're like, nah,
Yeah.
these motherfuckers are leading
Yeah.
astray over here.
and he was
Yeah.
telling Alex, like, man, this motherfucker was crazy. This is one of the craziest motherfuckers I know. I was like, nothing I'm
Like,
proud of, man.
yeah,
I
like,
look back
hey,
at a lot of crazy shit that I've done, or a lot of crazy stuff that I've done back when I was younger, and I'm like, man, there's nothing to be proud of,
No, but you did what you had to do, to survive in that moment. That's what you were taught. So that's all you knew. And once you got older, once you had kids, I mean,
once I had my girls, well, my first one, I think I started thinking more of like, I can't really do this type of stuff no more. Or I can't, like if Albert knows me. I used to react a lot, and I'd be like, "Oh man," I'd get mad and just be like, "Fuck it, let's go, dude. Let's just throw blows. I don't care." Like, these hands were rated E for everyone, man. And for everyone, dude.
You actually thought of the consequences.
Yeah, that's where I started thinking, like, man, I can't do that no more. Like, what if I'm outside with my kids somewhere and people are like, "Oh man, like you got to be looking behind your back," and I'm like, "Nah, that's not what I want to be doing no more."
That's not a way to live.
And then I started just kind of being more sympathetic towards people, and like, I have more compassion now. That's what's like, it's weird, man. Like, you get real compassionate when you have kids and shit. And I'm like, nah, you know what? And they make you soft, man. That's one thing that I'll tell you for sure. They make you soft. Yeah. And it's a good thing, though. It's a good thing, dude.
Yeah, it is a good thing.
Yeah, I learned a lot of verbal judo, I'll tell you that. A lot of verbal judo. I can talk my way out of fucking sticky situation now, dude. Hell yeah. Yeah, like, so shit starts popping off. I'm like, nah, you know what? Oh, my bad. Like, people, hey, man, you looking at me wrong. Like, oh, man, I'm sorry, dude. My bad.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to look at you.
Out of it.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
It's not that serious. Yeah.
No,
It's not worth
Yeah,
it.
it's
Like you
not
said,
it
serious.
yeah,
never, it never
exactly.
is, and it never was. I know for me, it what calmed my ass down because I always, eventually, there's always somebody bigger, and better than you, and I just didn't want to, because I put myself in so many situations where I clearly could have got my ass beat or even killed, but you think about it, and now you're like, nah, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
You got to think
It's
about what
not.
you're doing, man.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Now
And
that
then
we're
you're getting
talking,
older, so the legs ain't working the same,
Yeah.
I throw a punch, I might dislocate the hip there, you know what I mean? So,
Your
no,
back
take
gives out.
yeah,
You're like,
little back spasm, you know what I mean?
now that we're talking about that, what do you feel caused your havoc that you had, Ivan? Because I mean, we know you had a nickname called Transformer for a while. You know,
Ooh.
it was overindulging in the alcoholic. But what do
You
you
know,
think led to that?
well, for me, it was, I wanted to escape my reality of not dealing with, my issues at hand, the personal issues or whatnot. So I would go to alcohol to, forget about my problems. But, obviously when I would drink too much, you guys were concerned. You guys, when someone would tell me something, I would just completely get pissed off, and I would flip. And, obviously that wasn't the way to go. But it was more of even when was doing drugs or whatnot, it was more of a mental escape to escape from my problems. But it didn't help. It just made problems worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you feel were the problems you were trying to escape? Was it you not having a father? Was it just personal issues you were having, or how did it get
Just
to that point?
well, I mean, I blamed a lot on, not having a father. A lot of problems I blamed on it, but I never took that personal responsibility of making my own life, making my life better. Learning from the mistakes that my father did, and making my life better. But I just blamed on the alcohol or whatever I was doing. I just to get away, but I never dealt with the problems until I actually dealt with them, and it actually made me a better person, and made me actual take responsibility for the actions that I did, and actually be a man, and grow up.
Yeah, Kike, we had that Father's Day episode last week.
It was a
Um,
good job. So
I know what I know you lost your father when you were young, right?
yeah,
Is that
yeah.
what
I
happened? He
lost my
he
dad when I
passed.
was 12.
12. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and
you
it's
know,
funny that we're,
go
we're
ahead.
bringing that up too, because um, it wasn't until I would have to say, um, man, right before I had my second child, that I started realizing a lot of the shit that I did when I was younger, like fighting everybody and being a desmadroso and just always fucking mad, dude. Always mad at the
Yeah.
world, always mad at a bunch of shit like that. And I feel like, man, you know what? That stems from that too, dude. Like not growing up with my dad. You know, if my dad would have been there to check me or like I grew up angry. I grew up angry and I was
Yeah.
always angry. Everybody like in my younger days, everybody would always be like, "Oh man, dude, you're a hothead, man." And I think I started reflecting on that as soon as I got older and I was like, man, you know what? I think that's where it stems from. I
Yeah.
would have to say, yeah,
Yeah.
But even
You've been
like,
through. Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
No, you're good.
Um,
Go for it.
but like even when you were angry, like did you understand why you were so angry? Because me, like I was, why am I so pissed? Like there's no reason. Like my life is great, it's decent, but I was always pissed. I don't know. I can't really, even now, like I still get mad and upset, and I don't know where it comes from. Like how's that for you?
I would have to say at that time, like, nah, I didn't know where it came from. Like, I didn't know that I was like. That's why when I started reflecting on it, I was like, man, you know what? I think a lot of it stems from that. Like growing up, I didn't have my dad either. And I had my stepdad and stuff like that, but it wasn't the same. And it's
Yeah.
because I grew up, with my stepdad and then my stepbrother, and so like the way my stepdad was with his son, my stepbrother, it was different. Like he didn't treat us like that, and
Yeah.
so I always grew up like, man, I didn't have like my dad be like, hey dad, through high school and throughout all kinds of stuff, like be like, hey man, you know what, like talk to him about problems or issues, as you're growing up or any of those things. I didn't have that. I didn't have any of that stuff. I didn't have a person that I could talk to or anything. And I also know that my brother was the same way too. Like that fool was just off the rails or in high school and he just really didn't care about anything as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it's the same thing. Like it's just us growing up without our dad.
So your stepdad favored
He didn't, I
his
wouldn't say
his
he favored him, but it was just
Different kind of
that was his
relationship.
son.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, like it was a different relationship
Okay.
from us and him. Like him growing up and stuff like that, it was always like, oh, like it's just like if you were have your own kid and stuff like that, and you're like, oh, but I couldn't go to him and be like, hey, dad, like, or like Paul, or what's going on with, like, can I talk to you about something? Never, never, never. I was
Yeah.
never able to really talk to him about a lot of things, and even till I would have to say till my brother died is when, because I still talk to him, my stepdad now.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
still talk to him to this day and everything. And him and my mom separated though years ago,
Mhm.
and still talk to him and everything. And it wasn't until about my brother died when I was like me and him, and within all of us started kind of like I was like, hey man, you know what, like life's short and everything. And to this point, like he'll message me and everything, like, oh man, how you doing? This and that. Just want to let you know that I love you and stuff. And I tell him same thing. I love you too, dog. Like, and I told him as soon as my brother died, like after, like I'm not as soon, but it's like right after I started telling him, hey man, you know what? I appreciate everything. I appreciate you, man. Like everything you did for us and all that stuff. Like, like I hope you know that I I love you. Like, like you're the only person that was there for us, even
Yeah.
though I didn't really have that close relationship with him like that.
Yeah.
He was the only one that was there.
Yeah.
But
That
even
makes
like
sense.
if but even like if we went to like they were just a different generation, so like you couldn't really go like to your dad because he probably at least with our dad he probably just like because my uncles and stuff they were like totally machistas and they didn't
Mm.
if you talk to them about the problem they're like just suck it up don't be a pussy or
Yeah.
whatnot what I mean that was just that generation so even like that in itself is hard to
Yeah. It's weird because growing up, like my dad, I remember him to this day, and I remember. I mean, the dude was a gang member too.
oh nice
Yeah, he was a gang member. He's a Latin King over there,
oh wow
and he every day, man, every day he'd come home. He'd always hug us. He'd always tell us he loved us. We'd sit down and watch movies with him. He'd be like, "Hey, go to the store real quick, get us some munchies." I'd be like, "All right, cool," and I'd fucking run downstairs, run to
Yeah.
the corner store. I'd grab us chips and two sodas, and he'd sit down and watch movies with me and my brothers and all that stuff, man. I mean, he was great. He was a great person, great dad. Um,
but he was
so
still a gang member huh
yeah, he was still a
crazy
gang member, man. And I think that's where it stemmed, where like all that shit that he would instill me, like, oh man, you know what, like gotta fucking fight motherfuckers. You can't just let people fucking run over you.
yeah
And but I never really got that from him or my uncles or anything like that. Like I don't think like that real heavy Mexican machismo.
hmm
I didn't really I didn't really get that until I moved here. Until I moved here to the
Yeah.
valley, like all my other uncles, like, "Hey, pinche maricón," and shit like
yeah
that.
yeah
Yeah,
Yeah.
someone would come up and they'd be like, "Oh man," so I'd be like, "All right, cool, I got to toughen up a little bit more, I guess."
Yeah. It's a
which didn't help the situation of course
Yeah. You seen a lot of loss in your life, which is
Yeah,
it's crazy to me because when I see you, I see this strong person. Like I don't believe I've ever seen you cry. I've talked to you about some of the stuff you've gone through, and how do you stay so strong? You lost your dad when you were 12. You lost your little brother, and you just recently lost your mom. We want to say your condolences to your mom. You just recently lost your mom to cancer. So how do
I'm
you stay
sorry
so
brother
so strong, man? And so just focused.
I don't know, man. I've always been that person that's always been strong, and ever since I was a kid, like my dad would always tell me too. Like he'd be like, "Hey, you got to look after your brothers," and even like my older brother, my little brother, and always be like, "Cause you're the one," and I'd be like, "Man, all right, don't worry about it. I got it. I got it." And growing up, I used to just kind of be like, when my dad died, you know, my older brother was already older than me. He was already like a teen, just going through a bunch of shit. And then my little brother,
Hmm.
well, he took it really hard. So I remember he kind of, I don't know how to say it. Like we didn't really tell him until we got to, because my dad wasn't living with us when he died. He was living in Texas,
Okay.
and we were living here.
oh
And we found out that my dad died, and we drove out to Texas to go to his funeral and everything. And uh, I remember my little brother didn't know. They didn't tell my little brother until we got there.
oh wow
Oh.
Yeah, my grandma kept telling him, "No, no, no, we're gonna go see your dad. We're gonna go see your dad." and we had already known. But then when we got there, my little brother was, man. I mean, I don't think that fool used to be super happy, and ever since then, like he just was never the same.
He just
And he was a little
changed.
kid. Yeah, he was little, man. He was, I think, like 8 years old or
Oh,
9.
And it's
And
crazy how sometimes parents they keep something from you, and then but they don't.
it just makes it worse.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
does. It
it
does.
yes,
just
they
makes it
don't
worse.
realize that. They think they're trying to do the right thing, but
Yeah,
sometimes we don't know what the right thing is, as a parent. So we just kind of
yeah,
go with what's in our head, and okay, let's try this, but it ends up fucking biting you in the ass.
yeah. We feel like it's the right thing to do, but turns out to not being.
No, so
Yeah.
you gotta communicate because I
Yeah,
mean, kids know what's up. I mean, I see my niece and they know what's up. They know when you're
oh
bullshitting.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
yeah, they
yeah,
definitely know. We give them less credit than we should actually. I think they know what's going on. They're smart, but they can't express themselves obviously because of the language barrier
yeah.
because they're still learning how to
And they
speak.
see and hear everything, man.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah.
think they don't, because they do see and hear everything.
Yeah.
Um,
So after losing your little brother, like you had your dad already, and then you lose your little brother. Um, how did that take a toll on you?
that was hard, man. That I think that's probably one of the hardest things I've ever gone through in my life. Losing him, man. And I lost him. It wasn't like an accident or anything. My brother was murdered, and I think that's probably one of the hardest things ever. Because at the time, my brother was he was addicted to drugs. He was addicted to meth
Yeah.
and everything, and we had family and everything. He got really deep, and it got to the point where like everyone was already like, man, we have to cut him off. We have to fucking just like the last episode you guys said, like he's just making things worse
Yeah.
for everyone.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And everybody's like little by little just started cutting him off. And he like at that time we ended up fucking finding out that he got murdered. And we didn't just find out like, oh yeah, he just got murdered. It happened close to my older brother's house.
Yeah.
So what had happened was we ended up finding out in the news that somebody had died in close to my brother's house, and all of us kind of thought like, well, man, we haven't seen my brother in like a day or two, like,
Yeah.
and so we started looking for him, and he was never one to disappear and not be around or not call anybody or anything. It didn't matter, like at what he was doing or what position he was in. He was always calling us, always around, or he would always like be at somebody's house, whether it would be my grandma's, my mom's, my brother's. He was always around, and we couldn't find them. We couldn't find them, and I remember just being like, "Man, you know what? Like, nah, it couldn't have been him." And the reason why I'm
Hmm.
saying that is because um, my brother was murdered, and then he was put into a trash can and it was lit on fire.
Jesus.
So when they found him, um, he was unrecognizable. They couldn't figure out who the person was.
Yeah.
So that's what we went on, like everything on from when we're like, nah, and I was like, I can't be him. Like he's just probably gone, but he's never done that before. Like he's just up and leaves. Like so we were searching for him for the week, and it wasn't until I believe it was that Friday of that week we were notified that it was him, and that was hard, man. That I think that probably broke me more than anything, dude.
Yeah.
Losing my
I could only
dad,
imagine.
even now, like losing my mom. I don't even think it was. I don't want to say it wasn't that hard because losing my mom was hard too, man. But I think losing my brother was one of the worst things I've ever gone through in my life.
Yeah, it's a little
Yeah.
broski, man.
Yeah. I can only imagine because how we went through with Daniel and almost losing him and getting to that point where you start accepting it. But you know, that shit is not easy, especially your little brother. That's supposed to be the little dude that's always around. It's gonna be around forever. They
Yeah,
fuck up, but you always save them. You always pull them back.
uh,
Come this way, and oh man, that's just crazy to hear that you had to go through that and stuff.
And
It's
it's you can't change a person. The person has to want to change themselves.
yeah.
And
That's what we like. We were all just like our whole family was just kind of like, man, we have to cut him off because we can't help him unless he helps himself, and he has to hit rock bottom. He has to hit rock bottom, but he was
that rock bottom was
yeah.
too much rock bottom.
Yeah, but what's crazy with that is, someone took his life. He did, you know, last thing I knew of him, that he was walking around carrying a Bible and stuff, and he was trying to change. Um, I remember I spoke to him a couple weeks before we were in San Diego, and I spoke to his little brother, and I was like, "What's up, man? How you doing? How you been?" He's like, "Good, man, good. Just trying to get better and stuff." And I was like, "Okay, yeah, man, just stay out of trouble." He's like, "Yeah, yeah, man." He was always so chill, just like quiet,
Yeah,
like to himself and everything. And then I heard this happen. And it was like, wow, it's like, I don't know, man. I don't even have the words to say or how you feel, but you're a strong guy, dude. You've been through a lot, and I don't know how you stay like just in your zone focus. You're always a great friend. It's a pleasure to have you on this podcast and just hear your stories, man. That's wild. And so,
Definitely.
you just recently lost your mom to cancer. So that's three for you, man. I'm just wondering, how do you stay, how do you stay focused? Because I'm sure after, you found out your little brother was murdered, like you wanted to take some vengeance, right? That's in you.
oh
So
yeah,
what was
yeah.
your mind going on through that?
As soon as I found out, as soon as we found out it was him, um, all the people that we know, we ended up just hitting the streets and finding out what happened to him. And as soon as we found out, I was like, well,
Did you know who it was
yeah, we found out who it was.
before
And
they got arrested?
yeah, yeah, before they got arrested. And nobody knows this one, man, but um, the people who did it, I parked outside of their house and I was waiting out there. I was waiting outside their apartment, man, and I was fucking drunk. I was drunk. I was mad. I did a lot of stupid shit that first year, just on just being angry and just like just I don't know, just straight anger, man.
I don't
Because
blame you. I don't blame you.
Yeah.
I
We
couldn't
don't.
believe it, man. And it's because like you said, it's your little brother, and the only thing that ran through my mind is like, man, what was he thinking at the time?
Yeah.
And knowing him and us, like us three, we used to always just and Polly, so all four of us, we still always just get into squabbles and everything together, man. It was just we never were without each other, and that made me think like, man, I wonder what he was thinking, man, and I hope he wasn't being like, man, I can't help to think like he was either trying to yell out for us or he was
Yeah.
hoping and praying we'd come around the corner. And man, it would piss me off, dude. Just thinking that, like, just running that through my mind, thinking about it, I would get mad. At one time, I just parked across the street not across the street because I live in an apartment complex. I parked into this empty lot that's across from them, and man, I waited for them. I waited for those people, and I, I I didn't think about it. I was like, you know what, like I'm gonna wait and then see what happens when they come out. And good thing they never did, because and I probably wouldn't be
Yeah.
here right now. I'll tell you that.
Would
Yeah.
have gone different.
That's
Gone
Yeah,
true.
different though.
Yeah. But you know what? God
yeah.
God has a plan for all of us, man. And if they didn't go out, it's probably because he said, you got a future, you got kids, you know, let's
But
just write
karma's
it out.
definitely real, and they'll get theirs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. I believe they already caught him, right? They're in
yeah,
jail, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that's good to hear. They're paying for their crimes. It's just crazy to hear that anybody has to go through that. It's fucking God.
It's
It's
hard,
just
man.
crazy. Yeah, it's hard.
That right there is hard, man. Like I don't know. This is just
But
something I still live with right now. That I like, man. Every day I just, there's a quote that I seen one time from Billy Bob Thornton. Um, they're interviewing him and they're asking him.
Oh, I saw
You saw that one?
it. Mhm.
And they ask him, and he tells them there ain't nothing like losing your brother, because it's this person that you grow up with, and it's true. Like, this is a person you grow up with. Like, I'm pretty sure you two guys, what Beto's thinking sometimes. He knows what you're thinking sometimes. You
Hell
know
yeah.
his moves.
yeah,
He knows your moves, and,
Yeah.
and it's like that. Like, I grew up my whole life with my little brother and my older brother, and my other little brother, and I would know what they're thinking, what's going on in their heads. I'm like, all right. And when you lose that, like, man, dude, and it's true what he says. Like when you lose someone like that, um, you don't get over it. There's this one thing people tell you,
yeah,
"Oh, time will heal." Time doesn't heal nothing, man.
It doesn't.
It
yeah,
doesn't. You just learn to live with it. That's all it
yeah.
is. You learn to
That
live with it, and that's where I'm at now, like I've learned to live with it now. Like it doesn't get me angry no more. I don't feel like, oh man, but I miss him a lot, and you do feel that way. I feel like like the what he says, man, it rang true to me. Like he says, like every day sometimes you're just 50% happy and 50% sad, and it's
Yeah.
true, man. Sometimes I could
No,
be out
it's
there
tough.
having a great time with some people, or anything that I'm doing, and that's the way I feel. And it's because it's like I could have great people around me, chilling like right now,
Hmm.
and you feel happy and you're like, all right, but then I don't know where to hit me. Like, man, dude, I wish my brother was here, just to be able to
Yep.
sit right here and like see, or he'll be able to see what I'm doing right now.
Yep. That's crazy. And that
Hmm.
that's funny you said about Ivan thinking what I'm thinking and I'm thinking what he's thinking. You know, I think we're way closer now as brothers. There was a period in time when we had our problems, and I think that was during his drinking stage. But I mean, I wasn't perfect neither. You have two brothers that have anger, you know, over shit, over their dad leaving, and I mean, there's a couple times where me and him, fought. We squabbled, fist fights. And one thing you never want to do with your brother is to have a fist fight, because you're hitting somebody that you love and it hurts. And it's
Yeah,
just,
definitely.
you know, and I always think about that, but we're better now. We it was in our chapter in our lives when we were going through some shit. We were both going through some shit. We were both probably in our 20s, and the fact that you have to fight your brother just kind of like, damn, like how many people can say they fist fight their brother more than once, not just, and it wasn't over the remote, it was like, it was
Yeah,
over some shit, and I hate it. I think about that all the time. I'm like, fuck, that shit weighs
yeah,
in my mind. A lot of people say,
Yeah,
oh,
I was
you know,
just a disaster back then. I mean, just mentally all over the place. So I mean, I do apologize for to all my family for all the
yeah.
bullshit and all that I put them through. It was not kosher.
That's crazy, but we got this bond now, that's
Oh yeah,
unbreakable,
oh
as
yeah,
well as
definitely.
Daniel, even though he's on vacation, we got this
Yeah,
bond.
still he's still floating in
Yeah.
the ocean with
it's so
surfboard,
fun.
trying to get the
He's so,
Wi-Fi password.
That's what I was saying.
yeah,
He's still trying to get the
Yeah.
password.
yeah, that fool, god damn. You gotta have patience to be Daniel's brother. That shit.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but the only guy that takes 30 minutes to fucking log into the Wi-Fi. That's
And
fucking
then
crazy.
he's asking my mom for the Wi-Fi password. You, you can ask somebody else. He has my mom.
Then he's
I don't
like,
know.
hold on, I still got to charge my laptop.
That's
So let's
okay.
charge that. So,
That's
oh wow.
that's what brings
Thank
me
you,
to
Daniel.
my next topic of conversation. So Kike doesn't know, but I know Ivan knows. I'm getting married in September.
Woo!
September
Nice.
21st, 2024. Kike, I'm sending you my invite soon. You know, we're gonna have Dom's gonna have what do you call that girl that stands next to her? Best
Bridesmaid,
Bridesmaid.
bride not bridesmaid, the main
Maid of
one.
honor.
maid of honor. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
so we're not gonna have bridesmaids or grooms, but she's having a maid of honor, and I'm
Hmm.
gonna have a best man. And I wanted to ask you here on Kike, you want to be my best man, September
Oh,
21st.
damn.
Oh
That's good.
wow, going
I want
live.
you.
Best man.
I
Hell
want you
yeah,
to
no,
be
I'd be
there.
honored, man.
Putting the
I want
pressure.
you to be there and celebrate a moment with me. I know you're married, bro, so you got a lot of tips.
Yeah, hell yeah.
What?
Thanks.
I
Yeah,
want
I'm
not to do.
honored on
yeah,
there. Hell
yeah.
yeah.
So we're gonna do it Vegas style, You know how we do.
Hell
Ooh.
yeah.
Bring out old times.
We're just let's leave
No,
the
no coffee and the beach ball
yeah,
this
the
time or
beach
what?
balls. Yeah, let's
No
Come
beach
on,
balls. Yeah.
man. Beach
No
balls are
pop.
off limits. Oh,
Nah,
can't
no
bring it back
pop
to
in
the
the
good
beach
old days.
balls.
we'll get the Ray Bans on though.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely get the crooked Ray Bans. Yeah, heck yeah.
Let's see. I wouldn't say I'm getting nervous because we've practically been living together for a long time already. There's no nerves of what's gonna happen. I'm more nervous about just everything going chill that day. You know what I'm saying? Everything just going how it's supposed to. Kike, you had a wedding. What were your feelings, before the wedding and all that stuff?
Well, it's funny because I was talking about that the other day. I was talking to Alex and I believe it was her niece and someone else about it, and we were talking about that, and I think it's because we were going through some pictures. We were going through a couple pictures. It was right before my mom's or right after my mom's funeral. We had a
Yeah.
whole bunch of pictures and stuff like that we were going through, and it was a bunch of my wedding pictures. And Alex, like you could tell in a bunch of the pictures that she's just super nervous. She was just like, oh, like, and she was just when she was standing up there, she was just like up straight, just you know,
Like a
and
soldier.
yeah. And for me, the whole thing, man, I never got nervous. I never really felt anything. And that night, remember, the day before the wedding, I ended up going to Bert's house. I stayed the night at Bert's house, and you showed up, Polly, Fabian, Raymond, everybody started showing up in the morning. Well, when I woke up in the morning because Bert was standing over me, he's like, "Hey." I looked up. I was like, "What's going on?" He's like, "Big day." You know how Bert is, dude. You know how Bert is. He was just standing over me, dude. I was on his couch.
Naked or
nah.
Jesus.
Hell no. That would have been even more weird, dude. Oh,
he,
no.
he reminds me of fucking what's his name from The Hangover? Was it Galifianakis?
Oh,
He's just standing over you.
Satchel around.
just stand. And that's the way he was. He was like, "Hey." Now I remember waking up like, this guy. Like, what time is it? He's all like, I believe it was like 7 in the morning. I was like, "Damn, dude,
We go to sleep
fucking early, dude." Yeah, I was like, "This is too damn early, man." He's like, "You want breakfast?" I was like, "Sure, all right, cool, whip it up." Yeah, I was like, "All right." And then he goes, "You're not nervous?" And I was like, "Nah, dude, I just barely woke up. What do you mean? I haven't even got the motions and shit yet, dude." And then so he was all like, "All right." And he gets up, he starts fucking making food, and I'm like, "All right," I get up. He was rushing. I come on, he's like, "Man, you're not nervous?" And I was like, "Nah, dude, no, I'm not nervous. I'm not nervous. I'm cool." And then I don't know who came. I think it was Polly and Raymond got there. And then they were like, "Oh," and we start getting ready. And I don't know if we had some music going or something. And we were like, "All right, cool." And we still had some food, and they were eating. And they were like, "Hey, I'm nervous." And I was like, "You're nervous?" Like, "Well, I'm getting married. Why are you nervous, dude?" And Raymond was like, "Hey," and Raymond was like, "You good? You good?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm good, dude. What's going on?" He's like,
What's
"All
going
right, I'm nervous." And I was like, "Dude, why are you nervous? You nervous too?" I was like, "Damn." And then I remember either Fabian or you got there first. What do you guys got there? And somebody brought a bottle. And so we started sipping on a couple shots. And then I don't know if I think you asked me, like, "Oh, man, you're not nervous?" I was like, "Nah, man." And I remember it was right before we took that picture.
Made him nervous.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Man, you guys are getting me nervous, man."
For real, son.
Yeah, you guys are getting me nervous.
Be
I was
quiet,
like,
man.
"Man, yeah."
You guys know
The whole
something I
time.
don't know?
I know. That's why I was like, "Man,
Uh-huh.
I thought we were supposed to have a great time, man. You guys are freaking me out."
Well,
And
after watching that fucking show on TV where what's it? They fucking first sight at first love or what is it? Something like
oh
that.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
where
Love at
everybody be
first
saying
sight.
no. Yeah. Everybody say no. So I'm like, fuck. Am I gonna get a no?
Well, I think when you know, you know.
When you know, you know.
I mean, Kike was. I don't think he was nervous because he knew what's up. He knew.
I knew
his
it.
woman was with
I
her.
wasn't nervous. Like the whole thing, I was just like, "All right, cool. As long as everything goes as planned." I was like, "All right, everybody's there." There were certain people I was nervous about, but I was not nervous about just getting married. So I was like, "All right, cool."
I'm nervous about what you
Yeah.
mean?
I was just nervous about a couple, certain people that
Am I
might
gonna
be
reject that? No,
Yeah.
And other than
or an ex coming through.
no. Hell no.
Yeah.
We don't have none of that. We don't have
It's been known to happen. Though.
Yeah.
And the whole night I just didn't really think about being nervous about getting married. I was just like trying to make sure either everything went as planned, and it was something else I was worried about that day, but I'm blanking out right now. But nervous about getting married, I was just never really got nervous, man. I always knew that Alex was gonna be the one, and I was like, "All right, cool," And it's a crazy story because I got a crazy story that I always tell her, and she don't fucking believe it. And it wasn't until a friend of like junior high, one time we ran into him, and he was like, "Oh man," because I told Alex like we were in junior high together,
Yeah.
and she doesn't remember me. Obviously, she didn't care about me back then. She didn't know
Fucking
who the hell I was. And she I remember she was the teacher's aide for my PE class. And I remember I always try to talk to her, nothing. And I remember one time I was telling some dudes, I was like, "Hey man, I'm gonna go out with that chick right there."
You trying to do extra
Yeah. I tried to
Yeah,
push
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, I was like, "All right, watch. I'll get with her, watch." And
I'll get with her.
they're like, "Nah." And it wasn't until like years later, dude, they were like, "Hey, dog, you actually got with her." I was like, "Oh fuck, bro, you're right. I forgot about that one."
Yeah.
But
fuck it.
yeah, being getting married, it didn't get me nervous. I knew everything was gonna go smooth, and I was with the right person.
Yeah. All right. What about proposing? Did you get nervous when you proposed? Was that
No.
no?
I think no.
Jesus Christ, bro! I was
I
shaking
didn't
in
get
my fucking socks, bro.
because my proposal wasn't even like nothing big or nothing
Nothing
like that. It
crazy?
was just,
No.
yeah. I just told her, hey, what's up? Like, what do you want to get married?
Yeah,
It's like a
what's up?
date,
Yeah.
Like
I was
married
like,
or what?
if I tell the story here, it's just gonna sound horrible, man. You're gonna be like, "What's wrong with you, man? What's wrong with you?"
Damn.
Classy or what?
Just took her to Jack in the Box one day. You're like, what's up? We gonna do this or what?
That's right.
Just showed her the ring. Hey, what's going on? Put it in her burger.
Put the ring on top of the buttermilk or what?
Yeah.
And you fucking put it in
She
there.
dipped it in.
Yeah, I know you
Oh,
love that
man.
buttermilk, girl.
Yeah, no, even
That's
that,
funny.
I didn't even get nervous about that one either, man. I remember
Damn.
I remember me and you talking about it, but like I don't know
Yeah.
if you remember that we were sitting outside my apartment and I was talking to you about it, and I was telling you that I felt like I was like, you know what, I feel like Alex is the one, and I was like,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna I'm gonna get married, and I remember I think you asked me like, hey, how do you know that, how do you know that though, how do you know, and I
Yeah.
was like, man, you know what, like it feels
know.
right, yeah, it feels right, but then
Mhm.
I remember telling you like, you know what, the reason why it felt right is that Alex made me a better person.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Like
Yeah.
she made me a better father, a better person, and that's where I was like, yeah, this person I want to be with.
And a great woman
It's
always will.
Oh
yeah. It's crazy how it goes to that because when you're young, you're like, oh, I want fucking model dime piece, and you're like,
oh yeah,
but yeah.
Mhm.
But then
Mhm.
when you get older and you find out which one's the one, it's the one that actually just has your back,
Yeah.
and they're still beautiful, of course, not taking nothing out of them for that, but we don't go based off really looks no more. It's the personality. It's
That's their
what
heart.
can I give
Yeah.
this person and what can
Their
this person
intentions.
give to me, and that's
Yeah.
that's crazy
I've
because that's what
always
I
felt
see
it's
in them.
always like you want to choose that person who makes you better
Definitely.
at
Yeah.
everything, and at everything you do that makes you better. And I feel like Alex has done that for me in all kinds of categories, man. Anything you can think of, she's made me into a better person, better man. Um, even a better husband. Sometimes I'm like,
Yeah,
man,
yeah.
that you learn, you go and you learn, and she's made me into a better person all around, dude. And that's where I was like, man, you know what, like that's the person you want to be around with,
Took you out of the streets.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Took you in the sheets. Huh? All right.
Out of
There
the,
you go. From
Hey,
the
can we take
streets
a
to
can
the
we take a
streets.
little pee break here?
yeah. Go ahead, take a little peek.
All
All
right.
right.
Sir.
All right, we
Good
back,
rock
we
and roll.
back. So it's crazy that you said you weren't nervous, Giga, because I was fucking shaking up there, dude. When I did it in San Diego, when I proposed, I was shaking, and I kind of already knew what the answer was going to be, right? Because I was kind of, I don't want to say
Nope.
I was getting the pressure, but she would ask me like, hey, like, are we gonna get married anytime soon or stuff like that, and
That was
her
shitty too. Damn
family,
pressure.
yeah, and this guy's wife and my sister and my mom, all that pressure, which really
Yeah.
that's not why I did it, because I still waited like time after that to do it, but I was still nervous, to just go up there and spill your guts and then they say no, it's like, oh, that could be the worst, dude. And you
Oh
you watch all
yeah.
these video clips, dude, of guys doing it, and one thing I told myself, like, if I'm gonna propose, I want to feel like she feels the same way, right? So, what do you guys think these guys are feeling when they propose and the girl says no? Do you feel like they were getting that vibe from them and they rushed it, or they didn't know? They thought everything was 100% gravy.
Maybe I would have to say like, yeah, maybe they thought they didn't read the signs. I guess
Right.
they didn't read the signs
Yeah.
right, and they rushed it, or they just kind of were hoping for the best.
Or
Oh,
maybe they thought that would save the relationship.
Yeah, yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
too.
Most,
You know,
yeah.
as
A lot of
oh,
people do. Yeah, a lot
yeah.
of people do that.
That makes sense. That makes sense. They could have been going through some stuff, and they're like, "Oh, maybe because she's told me before, why aren't we married? Maybe I should do that, and maybe that would prove that I'm stepping it up or something." But it
Yeah.
doesn't. It just ends up biting them in the ass.
Oh
That
yeah.
fucking sucks. That fucking sucks.
You
Though.
know,
That's the worst.
you know what I did get nervous about? Like, okay, so asking her and getting married, nothing, man. I knew it was gonna go smooth. I don't know why, but I just thought it was gonna go smooth for sure, and I mean, it did. I don't know if you did. You do this, Evan? Did you ask her parents first?
yes, I did.
You did.
I
How'd you
spoke
feel
to
about
her.
that?
You know what? It came pretty simple because I knew she was the one. I mean, she right away she wanted me to be better. She supported me, and whatever it was, she supported me. And past relationships, I didn't get that.
See,
So right then and there, like I
yeah.
knew that it was something definitely something different.
Yeah.
And she saw me. She was with me at my worst, and she still stayed. In other relationships, I was at my worst, and whoop, they left. But with her, she was like, "There's something in him." She saw something in me that was like, "Hey, there's more to him than all this bullshit."
She brought out the good,
Right.
See, that's what I
Exactly.
mean. That's the person you want, the person that brings out the better in you and everything, man. And the one thing I got nervous about is asking her parents, man. I remember, I bought the ring, and I was like, man, and I was like, all right, cool. Like I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna plan how I'm gonna ask her and all that. But then I was like, man, you know what? And I remember I went to her parents' house, and I was picking up my girls. Well, not my girls. It was only one of them at the time, and I was just like, man. And I was talking to her mom, and I was like, damn, how do I say it? How do I say it? And I was standing there for a while, and I was just kind of like, and I couldn't bring the words out, dude. I was like, damn, I don't know how to say this
Spit it
shit.
out.
Yeah, I don't know how to say this. And so, like, and her dad's not a big talker, so her dad's just kind of like, he's just man of little words and stuff. So, like,
looking at me
I
like,
was,
hurry the fuck up, pendejo. I forgot time.
yeah. And so I was like,
Ando cagando, güey.
and I was standing there because I had told them both. I was like, oh, I got something I got to ask you guys. And then I was just standing there like, oh, fuck, how do I say this shit? And I ended up asking her mom, like, I told him, like, hey, you know what? Like, I'm planning on asking Alex to marry me. And I remember just being like, damn, like, what are they going to say?
Yeah,
I
what
was
are
more
they
worried
gonna
about
say?
them, dude.
Yeah.
That was the one thing I was nervous about. And her mom got happy, and her dad was like, all right, yeah. He didn't
It's
say
cool.
nothing.
It's cool, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah.
I can see that though, because like parents are they're never. I mean, they're never gonna think anybody's good enough for their child.
Yeah.
But unless they see that in you, then you made that effort though. So
I you know what? And it's funny because I grew up and I always thought like, all right, cool. You gotta ask her parents. You gotta, if you're good with her parents and all this stuff, like maybe everything will be good. And I just never thought like, oh man, I'm just gonna tell her straight up. And then I was like, no, I gotta ask her parents first. And then there's where I was kind of really nervous about like asking them.
right,
Yeah,
but you were good.
I
With
did that
parents, it's
too.
always good.
Yeah,
I
I was
asked,
good with the parents.
I asked Dom's parents too. Yeah, I took them out to,
Good
took
man.
them out to lunch, so I think they knew kind of what was gonna happen because I never taken
Damn,
them
see,
out
I
to
should have
lunch
done
just
something
like
like
that.
that. I should have
Yeah.
taken them out to not
Yeah.
show up at their house. Hey, I gotta ask you guys something.
Hey, where'd you take him, bro? Where'd you take
He's
him?
like, "Can I borrow your
Where'd you take
lawnmower?"
Hey, while you're at it, can I keep your daughter?
Can I keep your dog? No, I took him to what was it called? Something
Classy?
market. It's right there in La Mesa.
Okay.
No, fuck, I forgot what
Oh,
it's
the farmer's
called.
table.
Yeah, farmer's table.
Yeah,
There
it's
you
farmer's
go.
table.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Oh, I never
yeah.
been
it's
there.
farmer's table.
I took him
Cool,
to
all
there
right.
in La Mesa, and I was nervous as shit too. Her dad is, tattoos, bald headed. I was like, oh man, this guy, he's gonna be like, who are you, you piece of shit, But
Yeah.
no, luckily, they said yes. They said, we'll be glad to have you. They gave me some words, um, but I was more expecting like the hard questions, like, oh, well, what are you planning to give my daughter? What are you planning on getting promotion, raises? Are you going to be a millionaire? What's going on? Those
That's what I
questions,
was expecting too.
which, yeah, that
Uh-huh.
always weighs behind your head, like, are you a
Mhm.
man enough to marry his daughter, because, at the same time, it was so intimidating because, he owns a big business in San Diego, he makes a lot of money, he's done well for himself. And, I'm not at that level. So that kind of brings you down. It makes you shrink into like this little man, like, fuck, I'm going to ask this guy, can I marry his daughter, and he's done so much in his life. So the
But then
pressure.
also you got to think about how he is. So it's like because now I'm what you're asking me. I mean, what you're telling me. I guess I'm thinking about it right now, and I'm like, oh, you know what? Like when the time comes when some dude comes around, it's like, hey, can I marry your daughter? And I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, like, yeah, I got to think about that too.
Yeah.
Like, like,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I guess what they want is somebody who they know is gonna be able to provide and be able to take care of them. Even
Yeah.
though their daughter, like, or my daughter is able to take care of herself, you, they're a little bit more of older than us, so a little bit more traditional, I guess. And they'd be like, oh, you know what, like, if my daughter ends up just become a stay-at-home mom or a wife, are you going to be able to provide for her? Are you going to be able to take care of
Yeah.
her? Are you going to be able to do these things that you have to do? And I guess
Yeah.
that's probably where like you probably come from, you know?
Yeah. Are you not going to give up when the time gets hard? You know, are you
Yeah,
just
yeah,
gonna
exactly.
run away? You know, if you do fail, are you going to get
Mhm.
back up, or are you going to crumble and fucking just leave? Which it's a scary thought, you know, for kids. But we'll end it with this. You know, you're both married, so let's see. For us, you know, guys that are just barely going to jump into that marriage, what would you
Yeah,
say? You know, what would you say?
advices for people who are thinking about getting married, man. You know, I can't really say that, you know, there's a good advice for getting married. I would have to say, like, you know what? There's a lot of ups and downs that you go through, a lot of ups and downs. And it's how you take the downs, I would say. It's how you go through the rough waters, and how you sail through them is where you know your relationship's going to be in the future. So if you can power
Hmm.
through it, you can go through like the hardships, you'll be okay. Trust me, you'll be all right, man. If you guys can power through together on the rough ships, I mean on the rough waters, I mean you should be able to handle it. I say so. Like I'm still, you know, I'm still growing, I'm still learning, I'm still, you know, we still go through a lot of rough ships and stuff like that. But I would say that. I would say that. And one thing I would say too, though, like one thing I tell a lot of people who do like are getting married, they're like, oh man, they're having big weddings, they're doing this, and they're stressing over a lot of shit over weddings.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, you know what? That is one thing you stress over is like trying to plan a wedding, get the wedding together, and everything. And I always tell people, you know what? Like, and it's always the family, man. The family always.
Y me encanta la
Yeah.
estaca.
Yeah,
Yeah,
dude. The
yeah.
families are always the ones that just bring the pressure onto everyone. And it's like, you know what? It's your day.
And they're always the ones talking
Yeah.
shit at
Yeah,
them.
yeah, exactly.
La comida no
Yeah.
estaba buena and shit.
Exactly.
El pollo estaba seco and shit.
Exactly.
Okay,
That's what you came for? Like, come on, man. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Never contend.
Yeah,
Never
never
contend.
contend. It's everything. It's anything and everything, man. And like where they're sitting, we're like, oh, why is the Theo's
Yeah.
up there further than I am? And like, 'cause you're like, dude, like, come on. They're always gonna give you shit about it, but it's your day, and have fun, man.
Yeah.
To be honest, just have a great time. It's your day, and just don't even worry about what everybody else has to say. Just go out and have a great time. It's your day.
All right, Ivan.
And I think for me, I think, you know, communication is crucial. You have to have, especially at the beginning of a relationship, you have to have boundaries. You have to have expectations of one another, and you know, you need to communicate thoroughly. Hey, this is what I expect of you, and you know, what do you expect of me? And to always, you know, no matter what, just keep that. Just talk about things straight up before it becomes, you know, don't let things build up, small things build up to something bigger. Always, you know, if there's a problem, no matter the most uncomfortable conversations, they lead to something better because you talked about things. You know,
Yeah.
there's, you know, there's nothing left that's unsaid, and people are gonna get upset, but as long as you know, talk it out, that's communication, crucial.
Oh
All
yeah.
right, that's what's up. Kiki, once again, thank you for coming on. I
Thanks,
appreciate
bro.
you.
Thank you.
You
Thank you
know,
guys. Appreciate you guys
uh,
for having me on here.
yeah, thank you. Daniel will be back next week from fucking surfing in the fucking Ensenada Reef. But
If he gets back to shore,
if he gets back to shore, if he
he's gonna
comes
end up
back,
in Africa over there.
If he gets that Wi-Fi going on over there.
He'll be like, "Where you at, bro? I'm in Africa." God damn it.
All right, fellas, thank you. Appreciate it. Have a good
All right,
night.
man.
See you.
Good night.
Got drinks, got smoke, got weed, got all the girls, got everything we need. And I see them all. But who brought the fat girl? Drink another, smoke another, get retarded. I know this where the party is, so get this bitch started. And if you want some liquor, girl, you can go and lick a girl. Get it poppin' till like 6 in the morning.